Hi, Dr. Babica. It's nice to have you here. So we're here to celebrate Dr. Michael Woodworth, who was awarded the Silver Peer Mentoring Award in 2022 with a focus in research. So we wanted to celebrate him. And one of the things we wanted to do as part of the celebration is to interview you because you were one of the people that nominated him for that award. So if you just take a minute and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Ahmed Babiker. I'm an assistant professor in the Division of Infectious Diseases within the Department of Medicine. I'm junior faculty. I've been on faculty now for coming up to my third year. And my research interest lies in multi-drug resistant bacteria and using genomics and metagenomics to study them, and specifically studying the spread of multi-drug resistant bacteria within healthcare settings.
That's great. Absolutely great. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you would consider to be good characteristics in a mentor, particularly with a focus on research.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's many characteristics which are sort of essential for a successful mentor-mentee relationship. And there are a lot of different types of mentors. There's sort of personal mentors, career mentors, content mentors, and I think specifically, someone like Mike or Dr. Woodworth, I would definitely he's a sort of all-encompassing mentor, at least for me. Mike is somebody who's guided me in my career, and so from that aspect, some characteristics are somebody who's really motivated by your success, sort of is mentoring you unselfishly, not looking for any sort of gain, and your successes, they consider their own successes. And so I think somebody who's really has your best interest at heart, I think is sort of the foundation or the cornerstone of a successful mentor-mentee relationship. Other characteristics, all of which I really think Mike embodies, is empathy. We're all very different sort of people coming from different backgrounds. We all have different things going on in our lives. And I think especially during the past 3 years, some of these things have been highlighted. And I think empathy is very important, to be able to understand where somebody is coming from, to be able to empathize with somebody's sort of path and help them achieve their goals, whether their goals fully align with what you believe to be success or not. And I think that takes a lot of sort of empathy. So that's another characteristic I find very important. And maybe kind of just to wrap it up with one other characteristic, I think you really have to look up to your mentor. So I think having somebody who embodies professionalism in their in the way they interact with others, and who exhibits kindness in how they not just interact with yourself, but with others around them, whether that be people who are peers, junior, senior, and also maybe one last one. I mean, I could probably go on and on, but maybe one last one is I think also availability. I think it's also, we're all very, very busy, and I think a mentor is somebody who makes himself available to you, in sort of different ways and different capacities. But I think availability is also a very important characteristic.
That's great. That's great. Tell me a little bit about how Dr. Woodworth has enhanced your career.
Yeah, I mean, this is another area where I could probably go on and on and on, but to try and keep it somewhat contained, maybe just coming back and touching on the sort of empathy piece again. Me and Dr. Woodworth are, although we share a lot of the same research interests, we are have very different backgrounds. I myself, I'm a foreign medical graduate. I'm from Sudan. I am here on a visa, and these are all things that are one, being in a sort of research or career or at the beginning of a research career are all sort of barriers which Dr. Woodworth has helped me overcome. And sort of one tangible example is Michael was instrumental in me finding research opportunities and funding opportunities that didn't have citizenship requirements. And so, you know, with Michael's help, I was able to secure funding that protects 75% of my time to do focused and dedicated research in the field that I'm interested in. And you can imagine, as somebody who is just, you know, at the beginning of their career, such funding and such protected time is instrumental. You know, and so not only that, but Michael he also serves as a content expert for me. I go to him a lot with sort of technical questions and queries. He is always on the lookout for opportunities for me. Whenever he sees a professional opportunity, he forwards it to me, or he encourages me, and he writes me letters of recommendation. And sort of, again, talking about this sort of time aspect, Michael makes time for me constantly. We have a standing meeting once a week for an hour, even when he's on service, even when he's on clinical service. He rearranges his schedule to make time to meet with me. He's always sort of like a text message away if I need him for something. And he's been just generally a sort of very understanding, empathetic mentor. If there's something going on in my personal life, he is understanding, and, you know, not to say that he's, like, you know, very involved in my personal life, but if, you know, there's something going on, I can't make a meeting or I can't make a deadline, and I have to push something back, he's always, you know, very understanding, very accommodating, very supportive. And so, you know, Michael has been very instrumental in my success thus far. And you know, these are just, I think, you know, with the funding, that's kind of one very big tangible example, but there's so many smaller, less tangible examples that I could go on and on and on, such as access to resources, putting me on different projects, introducing me to experts in the field and different thought leaders. You know, as I could say, I really could go on and on and on. And that's why I really do feel like Mike really embodies the ethos of the award. And I was, you know, I wrote such an enthusiastic letter, but I'm so pleased that the committee could recognize my enthusiasm and award him so deservingly of this award.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time. And again, we congratulate Dr. Woodworth on his award. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Welcome, Dr. Woodworth. Thank you so much for joining us today for this interview. Would like to congratulate you on your mentoring award in the research category, and would like to highlight the great work that you've been doing. So I'll just take a few minutes and ask you to introduce yourself to us.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and it really was a truly humbling and award, and a great privilege to receive it amongst so many great people who have received it before. But I'm Mike Woodworth. I'm an infectious disease physician, and my research program is focused on the important problem of colonization with antibiotic-resistant bacteria and trying to better understand the microbiome as a way to reduce colonization.
Great, that's great. Tell me a little bit about your mentoring philosophy, because it must be great for you to have won this award. So would love to hear what your mentoring philosophy is.
Well, I think all that I really know about mentoring is what I've gathered from other people who've mentored me, and I've been very privileged to have worked with really truly exceptional mentors like Dr. Colleen Kraft and then others at Emory. And I think there's probably three things that really stand out to me as being especially, you know, useful as a mentor and important in kind of developing a mentoring relationship. But, you know, I'd say my philosophy is based on accessibility and accountability and authenticity. And so I think, you know, as far as accessibility, I think it's just crucial to be available as sort of a touch point for people who are really trying to learn the ropes of research in particular. There's so many things to learn, and it makes a difference to have someone who can walk the road with you. So I really try to prioritize being accessible to my mentees. I think accountability is crucial. You know, we're all busy and can't always do everything that we want to do. And but I think, you know, being committed to my mentees means that I'm accountable to them, and I hope that they feel accountable to me. So I think it goes both ways, and I think we really try to work to keep each other in check to move forward towards our goals, and let each other know when we're not quite meeting those goals. And then as far as authenticity, you know, I think so crucial to just model that this stuff can be hard, you know, and in reality, most of the things that we try don't always work as planned. And so I think seeing that plainly can really help mentees both learn from our mistakes, but also just see that it's part of the process. And our failures can often be our best teachers. And so I think there's no reason not to share those with our mentees as well. So I find that to just be crucial.
That's absolutely great. What makes for a good mentoring relationship?
So to my mind, you know, I think the things that really stand out are clarity and capacity, as well as opportunity and commitment. So I think that in terms of clarity, by that, I think it's really important to just know what exactly are the goals for both the mentor and the mentee, and what really motivates a person to be working on these things at all. And it's going to be different for everyone. You know, it's some of us, it's our family, some of it's our, you know, promotion, some of it's our publications, but it all can drive us to do good things. But I think knowing exactly what motivates an individual is crucial. And the other piece of clarity to me is, you know, really knowing what someone's role is and is not. And so at every point that you have a chance to make a new decision, trying to really get clarity about who's doing what and when makes a big difference. For capacity, you know, knowing what someone can and can't do kind of goes right along with that. Often in a mentoring relationship, I think that means knowing what you can't do, which is also often, you know, an asset in like a training application or something like that, because you need those things to really show that you need more support. And so I find those things are really important to clearly articulate. And then opportunity, you know, none of this happens unless someone shares their opportunities, and things only grow the more you share them. And really underpinning all of that, I think, is commitment. So, you know, it's really just following through on what we say that we're going to do.
That's great. We would love for you to share some tips for mentors and mentees that would help them be successful in their relationship, for the mentors to promote the growth of their mentees, and for the mentees to, you know, get the very best out of their relationship with their mentors.
So for mentors, you know, I think the approaches that have worked well for me, as far as I can tell, are really focusing on the positives, and even as I mentioned earlier, you know, in the face of rejections or not being selected for funding, you know, I think really maintaining a thread of positivity can be really important and valuable. Similarly, really having some guiding priorities about, you know, where a project is going or what a person needs is just utterly crucial. And one piece of advice that I've gotten from another mentor from a fellowship program was some coaching on how to say no. And, you know, there's a really great book out there by the same authors who wrote Getting to Yes, called The Power of a Positive No. And so I think really having some practice on how to say no to the opportunities that will just take time or distract from, your priorities, is, I think, a really valuable, exercise in mentorship. And then I think frequently reevaluating goals of mentees and mentors, and not like every week maybe, but every 6 to 12 months at least. I think it's important to really touch base, because we're all changing, and the goal of these training programs is to be different than you started. And so I think our goals are frequently changing over the medium and long term. In terms of advice for mentees on how to approach mentoring, or at least a relationship with their mentor, I think that similarly, positivity is central to that relationship, and it can be hard, but I think it really just makes everything easier to stay positive. And then similarly, in parallel, I think priorities are also really important for mentees to be able to regularly reflect on. And so, mentees often have a little bit more time than the mentors. And so really having sort of a rank list of what's most important, either for development or for skills or for opportunities or papers or projects and so forth, really having some time to reflect on what's most important for the next step, I think really helps mentees and mentors work best together. And to be able to digest that in a way that is most succinctly presentable to a mentor also goes a long way. And on both ends, I think having a sense of deadlines really can move things along. And so without clear, goals and deadlines, stuff just doesn't happen.
Thank you so much. That's been very helpful. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today and to share very helpful tips to both mentors and mentees. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been great to be with you.